But that's the moment that you were on your way home and you got to the Ohio state line,
Yep.
and then you had an epiphany, and it seems like that moment may have been, maybe next to meeting your lovely wife, one of the most incredible life-changing moments. Walk me through that, how you got to the state line and how you like found it in you to turn around and go back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I called my folks and said, I'm coming home because I need to go to work. And so they said, fine. And I started driving, and I started thinking, God, I'm not going to be able to even try this for another year at least and stuff like that. And I thought, well, maybe I can get a job in a gas station or something like that. It wasn't get back and go to Indy. It was just find a way to subsidize myself so I could stay a little bit longer. And, I got to the Ohio state line and I said, this is it. If I go home, and I'm not going to be able to do this for another year. And I turned around and went back and slept in my car in the parking lot there that night. Got up the next morning and drove over there because Clint gave me a garage parking pass, and parked in the garage, and he was outside the garage, and he motioned me over, and he told me what happened, with the kids, and he said, can you stay here this month? And I said, I can if I get a few bucks. And he says, you got it. So that was it.
That's so cool. It seems like you really had, in your formative years, so many people that kind of held their hand out to help you get to the next level, or to teach you stuff, mentors. And Clint sounds like he was
the one,
Yeah.
Clint had the patience, and he knew if you were a good person or a bad person, Clint was the type of guy, his favorite deal was getting in his golf cart at night, and he would go through all the garage trash cans that were outside in Gasoline Alley, and he would take parts the guys would throw out, and back to the shop and everything, and if they were good, he knew how to put them back in service and stuff like that. He was a master machinist and a craftsman, and he knew how things work mechanically. And I can remember he would take, guys would throw pistons away that had too many miles on it, or connecting rods and brake pads and all this kind of stuff. But Clint would fix them up, and that's why Dean Van Lines was pretty successful in its day, because he could work on a real low budget, where all these other guys, they were parts exchangers, put new parts in, new parts. And that was one of the big reasons that I learned a lot, was because of Clint, and how thrifty he was, and how he could figure out if something would make it or could make it. And we would run a race and would finish ahead of these guys, and he'd go over to the guy and say, hey, you know what pistons are in that car that just beat you? He said, the ones you threw in the trash can. And these guys would shake their heads, He was, they used to call him a junk man, but you'd learned an awful lot.
Well, and I think I read that it's, you said if this piece can make it for 500 miles, it can make it for 10,000 miles, and now it's broken in and ready to go.
Yeah, that's true.
Well.
Yeah. He had an old saying, man made it, man can fix it. And that's what he did. When he was young, he worked on irrigation pumps and that kind of stuff. So he had a good background as far as mechanics and design and that kind of stuff. And he was a tough old critter, I'll tell you.
So thinking back to in working on the cars in a pit crew or a crew, at that time, how many people did you have on the team, and how did they divide the jobs up?
Well, we had people, but they were either worked in the post office. They had, regular jobs. They either worked in a gas station, or they took the month of May off so they could be at Indianapolis. But crew-wise, it was just him and I, you know, driving to the races and stuff like that. And every now and then, one of his friends or somebody from Phoenix would come back for a couple of weeks or something like that. But no, it was a two-man deal.
Gosh, so when you...
And that was the beauty, because I got to do a lot of things that if he had 4 guys working for him, you wouldn't get to do anything. But he would see what you could do and give you the job. And that was important, because a lot of the chief mechanics, you would do nothing but wash parts and cars and, you know, do little medium jobs, but not anything with the responsibility. Where Clint would look at what you could do, and then he would give you the job.
You know, it sounded like he was a little bit gruff or rough around the edges.
Was he gruff?
But what you just said is such an important aspect of good leadership, of putting people into the right position and then not micromanaging the heck out of them.
And he was married, and his wife Kay, she was a wonderful person. And you know, after a while, I mean, I was part of the family. You know, they didn't have any children, so I think he kind of took me on as a kin.